Oh, sorry, I ran out of data there, guys. So this is the end of this conversation with my friends here. We 2 days ago we took like 10 loaves of bread and gave it out to a bunch of people and some meat and stuff, and it went kind of really well. But yesterday, because people had heard that there was some food around, when we as we walked down here onto this section of the beach, then and we got kind of mobbed by maybe 20 guys.
Lord,
maybe more.
Because we bought about 12 yesterday. We bought 12 condensing breads. And we try to do our best to give them parts.
Morning. Yeah, but the guys, but but Andrea had like 10 guys around her. Just pushing for food, and I had Alexander, and I was trying to keep him out of the melee. There was like, you guys had a mob around you. There was at least 2 or 3 mobs like looking for food, and it was a little bit. I didn't want Alexander to have to kind of see that, not because sometimes people are acting in ways that
they're weird.
It's
hunger.
Because they're hungry.
And
they're
hungry. Me, I understand it. Because I am too. See?
Yeah, no, I am even the guy who took the extra money and tried to demand more money on me. People are starving and they will do whatever they can do in their best way to kind of make a buck.
You are right.
And to eat themselves, feed themselves and so on.
Yeah.
And we're only talking about food that people have to eat that day. It's not like they're going to put it away for 3 days. No, that food's going to today, this morning.
It's a certain time for you to feed your stomach.
Yeah.
When you're hungry,
let's walk a little bit this way, away from the noisy spade.
You sit over there, you jump or you run away. When you're hungry, you can do whatever comes up in your mind.
Yeah. So it's just we were like, okay, how would we do it better next time? How would we want to do it in such a way that it was more organized? And Andrew was talking about if you had a truck, the soup truck, the usual thing. You must see that, and
they can make a line.
Yeah, make a line.
One line, girls' line, and the boys' line.
And what I just thought, we have to cut the bread for them.
Break it up, into portions.
With a lot of people I can see.
Just give them in 4.
We were trying to make them share yesterday. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4 share. You see, you remember? Yeah, but still, they're still gonna come. Another ones, you see.
I wanted to grab,
because now they're hungry. They're hungry. Everyone is hungry. You see,
So
it's another place.
Yeah, but and the thing is as well, in every place you go, you could probably be doing this. There's homeless people kind of everywhere, and the longer this continues, this craziness and the corona means that there's fewer people with work, more people, and fewer organizations that can afford or will support or whatever. I know the churches in the UK all shut down with the lockdown, so I don't know what they could be doing no good works. All of their soup kitchens, many of their soup kitchens would have been closed down.
We had some Islamic people.
The Muslim communities.
The Muslim
they're the ones who always come and
help us. Online.
Especially
Muslims,
in the beach.
In the beach,
they come and give out food. And you get those Christians who
they come
and
but
food
not
anyway.
like Muslims.
But most of the time it's the Islamic people who come and help us in the beach.
That's cool. I mean, I've seen Islamic people being a little bit short or curt, sending beggars away, as it were, being quite rude with them. But on the other hand, it's like every community. Every community, even
because you can't just go to them and ask them for food. They'll just chase you away. But in a certain way,
they
win something for you.
There's those that'll do what they can, and then those that'll reject everything but people they like or the right kind of whatever. But that's humanity all over, I think.
And the people overseas, when they come they're the one who give us food. But how can I say this? The white people from here in our country, they don't give us food. You see, only the tourist people like you come and give us food. But our white people that we live with, they don't give us nothing. They just they're scared of us.
And so maybe see you as a problem rather than as a you guys are what's the word? An expression of, or a result of, a whole lot of systemic failures.
Yes.
This is not just choices you made. You were born into
never
life.
chose this choice. Yes.
Something
didn't
just
go right.
drive us to the corner of the river, you know. It wasn't our choices to live this life.
Yeah, and if you were given better choices, if people were given better opportunities, it's fair to say though that after a while of living a certain life, it's hard to go back to a different life.
Yes.
Some people prefer eventually living on the street than living in a house. Now it's not for me to say, but I just know that I want to say it like that because I know that sometimes, say you've been a heavy drug user, the damage is so bad that it's like it doesn't matter what you try and do for that person, they might not be able to pull themselves out of the hole because it's only them that can pull themselves out of the hole.
Exactly, true.
Morning, ladies. Some ladies walking, brisk walking. That's a very common thing for the ladies to do. I don't know. They like to do their walking here. I mean, it's a lovely, really, this Golden Mile is actually, and I've been around a few places in the world, and honestly, because I grew up in Durban, the beaches here are some of the best you can find down this coast. And of course, the temperature of the water is insanely warm.
Always warm.
Always
You
warm.
find like cold water. Even now you can see it's a cold day. But still in the morning. But now if I take all my things and I jump inside the water,
have a little swim, you feel warm.
I only get cold when I come out from the water.
Out on the water.
Yes, in the wind.
You can feel the sea breeze.
Yeah.
But when you're inside, it's quite
warm. You can even stay longer than in the water.
Yeah. No, that's the only place in the world I've ever supposed to spend like hours. You can literally spend an hour or 2 hours, no problem, just playing in the water, not leave the water, have your whole body immersed in it because it's so pleasant. And actually, what I learned when I was young was that the sea temperature in winter is about 21 degrees, which is why the weather here is so centigrade, which is why the weather here is so mild, because the sea only drops 2 degrees from winter to summer.
Yeah, it doesn't drop that much, only 2 or 1.
Yeah. So you guys have got an idea of how the globe looks. The globe,
Yes.
It'll be interesting for you to know that actually there's no one official image of the globe that is exactly considered to be right. There's no one map of the world that is considered to be the exact right map of the world. This is a matter of, if you're into map reading and stuff like that, people say, oh yeah, we got the Mercator, and we got the, all this. So there's no one map. But we all have this idea of the blue marble.
Our African map is like going like this.
Yes.
And this is
Madagascar, right?
Yeah.
So where are we in Durban on that map?
South Africa.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, that's what I'd agree with you. Now draw South America and North America. Where would that be relative to South Africa?
It goes like this.
Oh, is that America?
Yeah.
That's a very good depiction of America, but wouldn't America, if this is South Africa, wouldn't America be here where your foot is, somewhere around here?
Yeah, it should be somewhere.
Okay, so just in rough terms, right? Let's just say this is Canada, and this is what we think is North America, and then down here somewhere is somewhere like this is South America. That's roughly. I mean, it's not exactly right, but South America is, Peru and all that comes a little bit lower. And it's how it kicks away a little bit, or kicks away down here like this, right? So now, I want to point out something to you. The sun is rising over there. Now, it's not completely east, hey? It's north of east, yeah? The sun is going to rise there, north of east, and then it's going to set, as you know, at the moment, it's going to set up there, sort of north of west. Yeah, north of west. So our sun today is going to inscribe this line through the sky. Yeah? So if you go back to the map and say, okay, so the sun has come in from here, and it's going to set here. It's kind of doing this arc, right? Does that make sense to you? Or you I mean, if you think about where we're seeing it, if we look out from Durban, we're seeing it coming from higher up the coast, and then so it's coming from up here, and it's arcing over our head, and then going away, and because it's a tight circle, right? This is 180 degrees across. Now it's rising there, and it's setting over there. So you're talking about 100, maybe 110 degrees. This angle here is about 110 degrees. The point I want to make is that if this is the track of the sun like this, however, today is it going to get over to South America?
To South America. Yes.
How can that?
South America, go like straight.
The only way would be to go straight, or even because South America, we think from Durban being at 30, we think South America is lower. So how are they ever
like this?
Yeah, and yet these people here are still going to have the sun go over their head today. These people here, they will stand in Peru, in Argentina. For them, they will see the same sun also doing this little tight circle. And that's come all the way from South Africa, from here. No, that would have to have been in a straight line at least to get there.
Do you think we're using the same sign?
We're using the same. No, I think each of us sees our own sun, which is why when you look at the sun coming over the water, it's coming to your eyes only. And if you go up to Amshlanga there, same again, the sun will be only for you.
Yes.
To coming to you.
Yes.
You
are right.
So I think that actually what we see is not actually a physical. What we see is not a blob. It's not a rock, or it's not a ball of fire. It's like a point of energy that your eyes interpret inside of the system, depending on where you stand, north, south, whatever, depending on where you stand. You are interpreting like this point of energy, and it represents as this hot light. Like a magnifying glass, how you can take a magnifying glass and make sort of concentrate light. Well, I think that is a concentration of all the light that rises up through the earth, or energy that rises up through the earth, and it concentrates into a point of light. I don't want to get too far into that, but the sun is not a ball of gas. Balls of gas, we know from anything that we do on earth here. Like if you made a fire, eventually that fire is going to go out, it's going to dissipate its heat very quickly away. So a ball of gas to keep burning for billions of years, we can't find any example of that. They used to say that the sun was 3 million miles, then it was 30 million miles, then it was 100 million miles. They also say that the sun and the moon are 400 times different in size, but 400 times further away, the sun. But when you observe it, if I never took you to school and I said to you, please tell me what you see, you would say, I see a round light, two lights, one is cold or blue, and the other is hot and red or orange. That's what I see. And they look about the same size. To me, they look the same size.
Yes, they are.
The same size. They are the same size.
Just at the moon, sometimes you get like half. And
yes.
Sometimes
it's
full.
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes it's round like oval.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's come half like. Yeah, it's come half.
We have, the moon cycle is a very important cycle for the earth, and they used to count the months by the moons, so there was 13 moons in a year, because there's 13 moon cycles of 28 days in every year. That's pretty much how the clock, and the lady's cycle, her monthly cycle is the same. It's 28 days for her cycle for fertility. It's 28 days from the time she starts the egg to the time she sheds the egg. And the moon is the same. The moon is the feminine energy in our world, and the sun is the masculine, hot, fiery energy. So it's all electromagnetic, positive, negative, and our world is made up of dark and light, hot and cold.
Yes.
And that's really what these lights are representing, the hot and cold. So your ancient culture, right? Your ancient forefathers, before the white man came with his science, he would have said to you, my son, the earth, as far as we know, is created by God. It is a flat plane. It is stationary. We give thanks for the sun because it gives us life. But we know that God, or a creator, is created this place for us to enjoy. This is what they would have told you. Now modern science says, no, that never happened like that. That wasn't that clever.
Changed it.
A big explosion, and this is what a Vatican priest says. He calls it the Big Bang. Yeah, and a big explosion called the Big Bang happens billions and billions of years ago, and then all these explosions happen, and eventually, Earth is formed, and eventually, some animals are formed, and eventually, man is formed. And not that, wow, what if you were God, you could create this in an instant, almost like it says in the Bible, like in 6 days, you could create this whole place, and then you could send yourself in the form of you to come and have an experience here. But the science wants you to think that we are just evolved from the apes, and that we are, we could be hit by asteroids, and that there's aliens on other planets.
Like this.
Yeah,
That doesn't make you the center.
Why they don't go there if there is a planet and maybe go stay there, maybe make houses there? They just come and say they got aliens there, they can throw a rock and the rock will just float. How can the rock just float? When you throw a rock, the rock has to go back down and right or wrong.
In our physical reality, that's what happens, yes. In our experience of the world, things that go up will always come back down.
Because what I know, we got the magnets, eh?
Yes.
In the bottom.
Yeah.
So whatever you throw up, the magnets obviously will bring it down.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's a magnet, because I don't think it's pulling things down, because that bag of rubbish... Yeah, because that bag of rubbish over there, if there was a magnet, see that yellow bag over there, then it would keep pushing like a leaf. It would pull the broken leaf till it was flat. That's not how it works. It's just about the buoyancy and the density. That bottle that you got in your pocket now, hey, if you drop it, of course it's going to fall. If you drop it in the water, it's going to float. But if you put sand in, sink. It's going to sink. Why? Because you've changed the density of there's less air and so on and so on. So our world works in things that are either heavy or light. The light stuff goes up, all the light gases, they float up, and all the heavy stuff, it sinks down. Yeah. And the water, it's slightly different. Some things will float up and other things will go down. The polystyrene ball, it'll float up, but here it's obviously going to fall on the floor.
Yeah. If you can take a balloon, and make it full of air and leave it, it's going to go.
Yeah. Or if you only put regular air in, then depending on the size of the balloon, until you heat it up, it's probably going to still float down. But when you heat it up, then the air gets lighter, and that heat, and we know that heat rises.
Yes.
Hot air rises and cold
lighter
sinks.
Now,
Yeah. Cold things sink, and then they eventually sink until they get right into the deep earth, where it gets hot again and starts to rise, and heat rises out of the earth. We know that hot water comes out. We can get hot springs out of the bottom of the earth and stuff like that. And yet at the very top of our sky, we know that it gets to very cold. In the aeroplane, when the planes are flying at 30,000 feet, it's minus 50 degrees outside. It can get super cold. So we know that it gets super hot. We've only been able to drill 8 miles into the earth, humans. And down there it's so hot and so hard that they can't, diamond drills, nothing will go down any further. And the same is true when we go up. Things get so cold and the air gets so thin, nothing wants to work up there, which is why our weather balloons, helium balloons, they will only go to about 120,000 feet. Maybe, 40,000 meters, something like that. So what's that, 40 Ks. By 40 Ks, the air is so thin, none of our materials can survive the cold or the pressures of that being almost like vacuum-like up there.
Vacuum.
Almost like a vacuum, but not a complete vacuum. Yeah. Now a vacuum chamber, you understand what a vacuum chamber is, right? So a vacuum chamber is sort of trying to mimic what they say outer space is. Outer space is where there's nothing, and it's just a vacuum, right? Nothing, you can't have sound, nothing, no wind, no nothing. It's a vacuum. So we're going to send men. I'm going to ask you guys to go up into this vacuum, right? Very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Yeah. So first of all, I need to work on a rocket. If I can't find a rocket that will work, I'll ask Walt Disney to try and help me make a rocket that will work in people's TV. Only on the TV. But I am still going to send you guys, because you look like brave men, I'm going to send you into outer space. And you say, but when I get into outer space, it's like being in a vacuum chamber. And that we know in a vacuum chamber, if a human goes in there, their blood will boil. They will die. So you need to give me a suit to protect me, or something to protect me while I'm in the vacuum chamber. Just like if you went diving, if I said dive to 1 meter, 2 meters, no problem. I go to 100 meters, I need a submarine. I need something really strong around me to protect me. My human body cannot do that. So either a suit, or something like that. So if I said, okay, I've got a suit, I've invented, now this is 1950, right? I've come up with a space suit for you, and it's going to protect you in space. You say, okay, let's go try it in the vacuum chamber to make sure that it works, right?
Yes.
Do you know that they never did that? NASA never did that. They never took their spacesuits into a vacuum chamber on Earth. But we're supposed to believe that without even trying them in a vacuum chamber on Earth, they went up into outer space and they could pull this off.
So that means it's all a scam?
It's all a scam, brother Eugene. It's all a scam. And not only is it all a scam, most of the governments are in on it.
In on it, exactly.
So most people will say, well, if they get you to believe that they can land on the moon, then that means that their theory about there being rocks floating around is true. It means that their theory that you weren't created special and that these are simply lights. They're not insignificant, but they're not as important as you. These are just lights in the sky that God created, as the Bible said. So if they can land on it, then it makes all of that stuff untrue. And for me, it was partly why I didn't want to believe in anything from the religious people, was because, wow, we landed on the moon. But so if we never landed on the moon, most people who say to me, I know we didn't land on the moon, but the Americans just lied about it because they were trying to beat the Russians. That's the story that most people who've done any research on this, they'll say, they wanted to beat the Russians at their game, right? And I say, no. The Russians and the Americans were both colluding to pretend that they were going to space, and they said, okay, you guys can have first win. Because the Russians had the first satellite in space, Sputnik. They had the first man in space, Yuri Gagarin. So they got the first wins, and then the Americans are like, we got to spend more money. The Russians are getting ahead. They're going to own the moon. They're going to be able to control us from space. They're going to have this, like Ronald Reagan said, we're going to have these space wars, rockets coming over from Russia and all this sort of stuff. So the Americans spend even more money, and now they're spending $50 million a day on NASA. $50 million a day. $50 million a day. That's nearly $1 billion rand per day. And they're spending that money so they can beat the Russians. And so people will say, no, well, if the Americans didn't go, the Russians would have said. But no, they gave the Russians a little bit of glory with their first spacewalks, or their first thing. And then the Americans take the big thing. Yeah. And it's all anti-Christ, by the way. It's all anti-God. And I'll give you a good example why. You know how many apostles Jesus had? How many apostles did Jesus have? 12.
12, yeah.
Yeah?
Right, yes.
Jesus had 12 apostles.
12.
How many apostles?
12.
Yeah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, Paul, all of these dudes, right? Yeah. These are the 12 apostles. Yeah. Actually, interesting. There's 12 zodiac signs as well, which might also be your star signs. Because your star signs are all of the zodiac. Although we're born on one day, but we are also all of the whole clock. It might be one moment, but we are getting our energy from the whole clock. And the 12 zodiac signs go around you, being the 13th, being the Christ. So they go around you. So I say that there's 13, the baker's dozen is 13. That the 13th is the Jesus, the Christ. You are in the center of the great sky clock that goes around. You guys see the stars at night. It's the same stars, man, in the same position. Maybe in the season it's a little bit of variation on what you can see, but it's the same stars year after year after year. If these were stars, this was a big explosion and everything's flying at billions of miles an hour, which is what they tell us we are, then you would not see the same picture every day. So we got the 12 zodiac signs, we got the 12 apostles, and we've got the 12 Apollo astronauts who land on the moon. Only 12 land on the moon. So I think that it's all like a joke at God. It's all like taking the mickey or and reducing us, because it's meant to be. Once I tell you that there's 12 Apollo landed on the moon, you go, yeah, I'm not that special. Because if these men have walked on the moon, that's incredible. That's amazing. Yeah, they're special people. Not only that, it means that we were not created by God. purposefully. It means we are, like they say, just in a Goldilocks zone, and lucky for us the dinosaurs, which is another lie, the dinosaurs got wiped out, and therefore little rats and rodents became monkeys, became men.
Oh, yes.
That's what you believe. Once you take Big Bang, you have to have evolution. Yes.
You see like the picture, like the monkey.
Yes.
In the science,
Yes.
it's come like...
Yes, like slowly we stood up. Slowly we stood up. Yeah, and our thumbs started working differently from the monkey's thumb, because they don't have this opposable thumb.
Yeah.
So all of that is like, this is all a lie to control us. Science is science. This science that I can say measure boiling water, things that I can physically test for myself. I can measure that water is level. I can take lasers and measure this stuff for myself. This is good science. But the science where it says, because theory called gravity, because a theory called relativity, and because a theory called evolution, because it's still the theory of evolution, there's no example of, we cannot find where, say, you and a black sister, your wife, you had a child, and that child came out as a white boy.
No.
No, that's never going to happen. Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Unless maybe it's a albino, you see.
Albino is different.
Yeah,
There's still an African, but the pigmentation is not worked right. But still, it's not going to be like like my boy with the curly white hair. You know what I mean? Blue eyes.
Phones,
No. And the same with me. I'm not going to expect to have a child who is African looking. If I have a white, European.
How can you
wife.
have like
How come?
dark skinned child?
And well, what they tell us is you can't see it. You need millions of years in order to see that. So you say, okay, science teacher, I trust you. Just give it millions of years, which none of us are going to have, and then we'll see that happen.
None of us is going to have that millions of years.
It's like when in the 1970s they told us we were running out of oil, and there was a massive oil crisis. There were we were lining up at the petrol pumps here for kilometers to try and get petrol, and the price went up and so on. They said 1970, they said we were running out of oil. Now here we are, nearly 50 years later, pumping much more oil than we had in the 1970s.
Hey.
Where is this coming from?
I don't know.
And it's still more expensive now when we got like all of it.
As I said yesterday, I remember when it got to R1. Now a plastic bag in the shop, 80 cents. Another shop wanted to do one rand for a plastic bag. So this is all designed.
When you said to that lady yesterday, you used to put like petrol for 80 cents for 1 liter.
Yes, when I started driving, 80 cents for 1 liter. And there's some places in the world where, like when Gaddafi was still alive, his people were only paying 10 cents a liter for petrol. But the point, coming back to the point, is that all of this is designed, all of these lies, all these tricks are designed to keep us under pressure, to make life more hard, make life more expensive, make you, now I have to pay so much for petrol, now I have to pay so much for a little bit of land. Because, and then also that you will buy into an authority figure, because most people lost love with the Vatican. Most people lost love with the religion. They in the modern world, people are like, not so much about God. You see much more people wearing the NASA t-shirt. They're much more into science. They're much more into believing in UFO aliens and life on other planets and more advanced life and stuff like that. Now, when you see the world in the way that I do, and the corruption of the way that the system is done, not only has it affected your personal journey, but it's affected the human soul journey here. So we're becoming these disenfranchised people. So far, so we buy into science, we buy into the belief of things that we can't actually see. So science is just another religion, or this kind of science anyway. Just another belief system to control people.
Yes, to control people. Yes, you're right.
But I'm going to blow your minds a little bit with this theory that a lot of us hold. Because for 5 or 6 years I've been going around telling the world, the people that the Earth is not a globe. We cannot walk underneath a ball. Rivers cannot flow up the side of a ball. We cannot show that.
We'll be falling down.
Yes, we would be falling down. Ships. They say that ships are going down when they leave here, but actually, it's perspective. It's like when you look to Umhlanga Rocks, you see how these big street lights here, they just get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, right, into the distance. That's perspective. Things get smaller and lower to the horizon, into the That's how it works. So they've convinced us, though, that means that people are walking upside down and the ships are sailing under the ball. So, not happening, eh?
Never.
So I tell people that, of course, that means that the ancients were right, that the earth is actually flat, and that we're in some kind of dome.
Yes.
We're in some kind of dome system. But not only that, this is the wildest part, that actually there's probably more land than we're told about.
Yes.
That there's other continents that have been hidden from us.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and they just put us on the space, on the small space, and
Yes.
they put like a lot of people. So you're gonna think like, hey, there's no, there's so much of people. No, there's no such.
Yeah, yeah.
See, there's
yeah.
just that they're not. How can I explain this? They're not taking us to where there's empty spaces.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's empty spaces, as you know, on just on this land that we know about. But what if there's other continents that the land that we know as the globe and the 5 continents could only be about 40%, perhaps. There could be another half or more of land that other people maybe live on. And why I was mentioning is because I said aliens and UFOs. I think it is possible that there are people living on other lands,
Yes.
and they may look different from the Africans, the Chinese, the Europeans, and so on. They might look different altogether, or they might look similar. And that there might be, because this is an electromagnetic world, nothing is really in the material sense that we can see it. Actually, everything is frequency, and our brain is like a frequency decoder, like an Mnet decoder, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. So if your decoder was tweaked so that you could see more, then actually if you were able to see more than what was here, you might see other entities moving around us in different electromagnetic frequencies that are invisible to us right now,
Yes.
but perhaps maybe a dog could see, or perhaps...
Yeah, the dog may see it. You are right. Because you know what they say? They say if you can... They say they are unsure of this, you see, some
Yeah.
of them. If you can take this thing,
That
for
that's-
the dog,
that that's
the
what
Evil.
lens
blocks
of
the
the
eyes.
dog,
Yes.
and put it through you.
Uh-huh.
In a human's eyes.
Huh?
At night.
At night, you
Ah.
can see a
You
lot
can
of
see
things
all of
that
it.
Really?
you don't want to see.
Really, eh?
That you
Really?
don't want to see.
Wow.
They say like that.
Wow. So taking this from the sleep from their eye.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
dog. You put it on,
Yeah, on your own eye.
on your eyes, huh?
Wow.
You may see a lot
Wow.
of things that
Because
you
at night,
Wow.
visible.
Wow.
you can hear the dog like barking.
The
like,
dog is barking for nothing
Yes.
at night.
Yeah.
Seeing something.
Yeah.
Seeing something that you
And then
cannot
you take
see.
it, and then
Yeah.
it's us like the black
Okay.
people believe on.
Yeah.
You see. But I never experienced.
Talk a lot.
I never experienced that.
But I've heard about it.
But
Yeah, you
I
heard about it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they say like
Yeah.
that. But they say you don't want to see that.
No, it's kind of frightening.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell you, when I took this DMT, when I smoked the ayahuasca 5-6 years ago, my vision changed completely. I couldn't see anything, the wood, the bricks, the plants, no more wood, plant, just light, just all of it light. And I was frightened. Oh,
Yeah.
what the fuck? What is going on?
Yeah.
So the guy who was taking me through it, I grab his hand and I look at him, and he looked like an alien. He looked like an alien. He was a light being, but he looked like an alien, almost like a lizard. It was kind of, and I was almost frozen because of the drug I'd taken. But I try and reach up to him and I say, "What are you?" I didn't ask him, "Who are you?" I could recognize his eyes were the same, but everything else different. Jawline kind of similar, but. And I'm like, I didn't say, "Who are you?" I said, "What are you? What are you? What kind of creature are you?" So I promise you that outside, when you leave this body, you go back to a place where you can see a lot that you can't see now. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think that there are entities, and sometimes it's bad spirits and good spirits that are moving around with us that we can't see, but they can get into you sometimes. This is why alcohol, like we saw with that other friend last night, alcohol is they call it spirits, because I think when you drink alcohol, it opens a certain part of your system up, and maybe you're accessible to darker spirits that are available, and they can kind of get into your body, into your soul, perhaps. I think that I had a spiritual attack on me 2 years ago, and afterwards, promise you, I was so confident. I was doing a lot of public speaking, and immediately I walked out of the hotel after having this. I've almost fell down the stairs, and I became frightened. I didn't want to go out of my house for weeks. Because I was like, I was saying to Andrea, like, I've got something in me, something's talking in my head, something is messing with me, giving me terrible stories. Terrible stories. I would be like, just walking down the street, and an extremely violent thought would come into my head. It would be like, I've never thought that in all of my life. Where the hell is this coming from? And I've been trying to fight off this, I think like a demonic kind of thing. So there's definitely energies that we can't see. But so we're in an electromagnetic system. We are all of us that. you are connected to something that is undefeatable. It is infinite, and it never dies. I learned all of this when I did the DMT, and I've done a lot of research since that. So I think that we are, and partly why I went and put myself in harm's way with this attack that I had was because I thought I was invincible, that nothing could hurt me. I was feeling so powerful because of my connection to God or my source. Yeah. And then that stole a lot of that, and I'm still 2 years more later, I'm still kind of working that off because I'm not the confident guy that I was 2 years ago in terms of that shit. So, hey ho. But this is what I wanted to share with you, is that actually, the whole system is so powerful here that they can control education, all of education, all of religion, all of banking, all of government, all of government.
And everything, even now you're gonna even control us. You're gonna have chips in our hands, even on phones.
Yes.
You know how to know, what you're talking, what you're about to do. See.
And what do you, and what do you guys think about the vaccine?
Hey, this vaccine thing, I think that's gonna make you weak. It's gonna make.
Good.
But some other people, they're using the vaccine, but hey, me, I don't believe on that vaccine.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, keep it clean like that.
Where I was like, now I'm turning 30 in October. Since I was 14 years old, up until today, I never get sick.
Wow, that's amazing. 16 years.
Never get sick. I never sleep in the hospital.
Wow, awesome. Awesome.
So now I'm gonna put these vaccines on my body, and hey, I don't know what's gonna happen.
What's gonna happen? You see?
Maybe that's what's gonna make me weak. You see?
It's gonna change me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna.
Maybe they just want us to be weak.
Genetic modification.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. But I think the truth is that your body is strongest when you take care of yourself. I mean, I know you guys have hard lives, but you don't need the drugs.
No.
Certainly from the
like
white
a
coats.
drug thing, you see.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna put the drug on you. Never know when it dissolves what the hell is doing inside your body. Why they don't put this vaccine there on the parliament? They must see them using the vaccine first. Then after 10 years, then we'll come use it. You must see from them using it first.
How they gonna this thing, they already experience it. How it's gonna happen?
Yeah, there's been no trials, not enough.
See?
Yeah.
Now how we can just trust it?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, and that's what I'm saying with same with terrorism. Terrorists never attack the parliament. They never attack government. Almost never. It's always just a bus. Average people in the street.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why would terrorists want to hurt the average man in the street? Wouldn't he rather be against the government who's making these decisions that cause these problems? I'll tell you why. Because the government is paying the terrorist.
Yeah.
When I was in Angola, the CIA were funding Jonas Savimbi. And on the other side, the Russians were funding and Cubans were funding, the Angolans, or at least supporting them, taking their money or whatever. But so we know that the CIA or the intelligence services or whatever are they're the dark state or the deep state that's working against the people. So all of these things are never going to really affect government. Government will continue doing what it does until the people take back their ownership, their own ship. We are ships. We are meant to be in control, the captain of our own ship.
Yes.
Not somebody else telling you when to turn left, when to turn right.
I'm the king, you're the king, we're all the kings.
Yes.
Why they have to be one king?
Yes.
We have to praise the king.
Yes.
Even ourselves, the kings. That's why, like in this music industry, they just tell, like Kanye West and them, they're also the government themselves.
The music industry.
Yes.
It's very controlled.
Yeah.
The music industry has been used for decades to control people's thinking.
Exactly. They are fucking. I don't know how can I say this. You see, they're the president of the world as well themselves.
Yeah.
You see, they don't care about Donald Trump or whoever's the president. Whatever money he makes, they also can make it.
Sure.
You see.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the system is, these guys are just like the footballers who make millions of dollars every week. They're really just players in the game. They're just, you know, the system is going to want people like them because good footballers or good musicians. But then once it gets them in the musician into this signed up, it'll say, okay, we want you to sing this song. Because they know, like it's you're you know, Tupac, or you know, you're someone who's really, say Tupac is not a good example because I think he might have been, you know, killed because he was saying too much against the system and he was too popular. But generally you get a record deal, they'll sign you up, you'll play the songs that they're happy to, you know,
they give you songs, they write songs for you. You just go and perform the song.
Sometimes, you know, and it'll end up being that they're using you to kind of steer the social agenda, get girls to be more sexual, maybe, to get guys to be more gangster-like. You know, that's what young boys, you're 10 years old, you're watching like Biggie Smalls or some kind of rapper going off and 50 cents.
You are right. Even yesterday, there's a small boys came to us, me and my bro, was about eating. They came to us. While we are sitting, 3 lighties, small lighties, even small than us. Small than us, won't believe it.
So of them had
big knife like this. One came with 9mm gun.
No.
He's coming and say, hey, look, there's a gun. Hey, when I take this gun, hey, this gun is real gun. Even there's a cousin, these things, everything. Now I see, hey, small boys like this, where they get all this, you see?
After we just drop your love.
After we drop your love, then they come in the park and they show us all this, you cannot go rob people now. They're telling us like that. I'm saying me, okay, want to do that? Because I can't just say they mustn't do it. I don't know how they are.
But now they want us to give them information because we're from
here.
You want to do it with us.
They want to come with us and do it with us. Okay, guys, we are not on that now, us, you see? Because you all want to do it, but you must watch out. There's lots of police guys. See, but it's up to you. Because you can't stop someone if you want to do something. It may change for you.
Because you know, he's got to 10 years, 12 years old. He's had a lot of things in his mind to make him to that point where he feels he has to. That's what his society is doing around him.
You want to do it because even if I'm telling you, he's telling me. You know what he was telling me? Telling me, hey, you know, this one got murders. He's telling me straight.
Really?
Small boys telling me like that.
Man. That's harsh.
It's not right,
that's
but
very
you see,
harsh.
because it's like,
but these are but as I said,
that's what you are talking about.
And because if you don't tell people who they are and you turn them into these dogs who are hungry, some will bite badly. So you can't blame these guys. You obviously want to help them, but individually they're
3 small boys.
Wow, man.
They can still even go school and do right, those boys, but because life.
Wow. Life is
I was surprised to see a small boy like that carrying a gun.
Even me, I was shocked.
I told my friend, hey, bro, let's take this gun. But now, because he saw the bullets on it, he said, hey, the small boys, but now the gun got bullets, he can't take it. Then we left.
No, he gave me the gun. He gave it to me.
But he
and then I check out the magazine and I see, put it back inside. Okay, I said, hey, what? Because I think it's a toy gun, you see. Never think this boy can carry a real gun. You see when you see a small boy, you can't think he can carry
real gun.
When you walk here with a gun, you won't think it's a small. You won't even think that he's carrying a real gun. You won't think it's a toy. But because I touch it, I saw that it's a real gun. How come this boy got a real gun? And it's back to him. But I don't know where he take it. He's even telling me it's got murders.
We can't take something like that.
And in future,
not that I'm saying I want them to people, but I can't say to them, hey, don't do it. I can't say to them, you see. I'm not the parents, I'm not, you see, I'm young, you see. I can't just, even at least the parents for them, they must have tell them a lot of things.
It is, I would say that, you know what, you guys are like senior figures here, you know, you're older guys on the street and stuff like that. And
I won't lie, I won't say I never done wrong things. I've done. Did all that's what they're doing, you see, but at least I make up my mind. I saw that it's not right.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
this is
allowed.
where this is where sometimes you might. I'm not saying in this case,
Yes.
but sometimes you might be able to help some young boy go say, look in my face. You've been through all of these things. You know,
Yes.
you've experienced. You've walked this way, and you can give someone advice because of your experience and say, listen, I know how this ends. If you're 10 years old now and you're already there, by the time you're 16, it's finished for you.
Yeah.
You're inside. You're
Yeah.
dead. Whatever. You know.
Lots of them, they dead, my friends, me. Lots of them, they are not alive. Me, I got friends who was doing these things, wrong things. That's why I realized that this one is gone. He's not alive. Lots of them, maybe about 6
Right.
of them,
Wow.
they're
Wow.
dead.
Wow.
That's what made
Oh,
us
young.
change our life.
Yeah.
Young, yeah, see,
Just
young
like
people,
we-
young people, they're dead.
But
because
this
now-
thing is going on, how can I say, on stages.
Yeah,
So you
the
can't blame
stage,
them.
the stage, you
We
can't
also
blame them.
started-
You can, me, I can tell him
We were
now.
young like them,
You see,
so
Yeah.
okay, what I can tell you, I can tell him now. Hey, bruh, hey, this thing you are starting is not right. You want to experience it. You don't want to
Yeah.
hear about me.
Sure,
That's
sure.
what
He
he's
will
gonna
hear
do.
you,
True.
but he will
He
do
will
it.
hear
You gotta
me,
learn.
but he'll like
Yeah.
it's coming this
Yeah,
way, it's
yeah, yeah.
going in this
True.
way. You see,
True.
for now he
Yeah.
can hear me.
Yeah.
You see, but once I turn back on
Yeah.
him, I'm gonna still do it.
Sure.
That's
Sure.
it.
That's
You
true.
see.
You
I'm
know
not
that.
saying
Yeah.
I like to tell them, I like to help them, I like to experience them about those things, wrong things, you see. But still, I know, even the small Indian boys, I used to tell them, yeah, guys, go to school at least. You're still young. Small lights is like this. Small lights.
Come in bed.
They want to come. You see now, the use of money now.
Yeah.
They won't go to they won't go to school because they
Yeah.
use of money.
Yeah.
Money, they know money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Money
Once
is
you
the
know
evil of
money
all
is
evil.
evil.
Yeah. And that's all they'll be after now is to
You see.
get a little
Now
bit of blink.
even the small children, they know money. They cannot sit and listen to
Teacher.
the teacher to talk. They'll be
But the
rude.
teacher's lying to them anyway. The teacher's telling them they're from monkeys living on a spinning ball, which is all bullshit. You know, the truth is that, you know, God created us at the center of it, and you know, when people aren't learning that, then they're learning about how insignificant they are and how unimportant they are and how they got to be a good slave and go and work in the system, and if they're clever enough at school, they might get a job like a doctor or some other kind of, you know, indoctrinated person. But this is why it's all messed up, and why people, you know, I mean, obviously the outcome is people are homeless. The outcome is 10-year-olds are carrying guns and threatening to hurt people with them and stuff like that. And when you're 10 years old, you don't realize the consequences quite of your action of, you know, taking a life. And if you've done any gaming, you know,
Don't
you
realize.
played on the PlayStation or the Xbox, you know, and you've done all that shooting, you just want to carry on. Yeah, you want to do. It's the
there's
same thing.
games now and all like that. You see.
So yeah, I think that it's never going to end until we realize the truth of who we are and we stop buying into this bullshit. So I want to go back to the hotel and get to Andrea and Alexander, because he was awake before I left, and he is my reason for everything. But we haven't actually booked anything today. We don't yet know where we're going to be tonight or this tonight. So I can't say goodbye just yet, but I'm not sure, you know, if I'm staying tonight. I don't know that I will. But anyway, I won't go into all of that now. We've got to get going. As I said, I might have to take a flight back to England in 1 week or so. My hope would be I could stay and find accommodation, and then I could continue coming and talking to people. You met that lady we met at the till last night.
Yes.
Guys, I got to tell you the story. Oh my gosh, what a story! Incredible, right? Yesterday, we go to the shop and we've got a few trolleys full of stuff. We can stand this way; we'll have the sun in our face. We got a few trolleyfuls of stuff, and this is interesting. Didn't you say to me, you see how that lady disrespected me? She wanted the social distancing stuff. Hey?
Yes.
That was her daughter.
Yes.
So I get talking to the mother, and within 10 minutes, the mother's so like taken, you know, so impressed with what we're doing, what these guys are up to, and so on. She says to me, here's 100 rand, which is £5. She says, let me give you some money towards the food that you've got for these guys, which I ended up giving you for shelter money.
Yes,
It's
yes,
hopefully
yes,
used
yes.
wisely, and so that was just an awesome interaction. This was an African lady. She was a black African lady who said to me, I can see that you're a man who can talk to everyone. She could really feel my my intensity and my sincerity. And then she took my number or my YouTube, and it's like I've had a few conversations with like that. I'm hoping they can offer me something that would mean we had a way to stay here reasonably.
Yes.
I don't want to stay in a hotel room, of course, but in a little home, little cottage, or something, and then I could carry on doing this work. But unfortunately, there's only a few people, and because I talk about the earth being flat, a lot of people don't listen to my work because it frightens people to know that their entire education, their entire government, the entire establishment, the Queen, all of that, the Pope, they're all hiding this lie. It means the whole game that you've been born into is a complete scam. Yeah. So, and people don't want to look at that. So I don't have a lot of supporters. I have a few wonderful supporters, and I'm grateful to you all. But we'll see, so I'm hoping that I can stay on, but at least for today, I think I'm probably going to have to get out of town. And I felt like now, because people have seen my face enough, they go, oh yeah, just ask him for money, and I feel bad all the time, because you can't give everybody money.
No, you can't.
You can't. I want to give people help and love and support and and food if I can.
Yeah.
But guys, I've really appreciated your time and your efforts and your support.
Okay, sorry, can I ask you some question? What is your point about doing all this?
Great question. Because when I started doing this, I thought I need to tell this truth that I know, and once I start speaking the truth, it'll be very quick before that people go, yeah, of course it's right. Why would I be lying to him? Why would I do this? Why would I lie so intensely? God struck me down for being such a deceiver. So no, I came out to start trying to wake people up, because initially I thought, if people realize like I did 5 or 6 years ago that the earth is not a ball, a globe, and then that means that everything's been lied to.
Yeah.
If they work that out, then people will step away from government. They will step away from their belief in the need for government. They will take back their own control. And they will live their lives, men and women, like honorable people.
Yes.
Because if we all lived in honor, then we'd have very little need for government and police and all of this,
Yes.
Yeah, I think education is absolutely essential, but it needs to be true education, not made up history, made up science, fake this, fake that. And also the schooling system is, tries to squeeze you into being a good boy, a good slave. Blow the whistle, stand there. Blow the whistle, go there. So that's like how you train animals. That's how you train sheepdogs and things like that. They blow the whistle. So
they do whatever you say.
Yeah. So
they do whatever you say. Yes.
So I would hope to eventually be able to speak to for this message to be spread to large numbers of people. That's what I'm trying to achieve. But at the moment, I have a modest, YouTube following, and but I'm connected to some communities of people that are trying to get the word out, and that's really what we're trying to do is wake people up and say, wake the flock up.
Wake up call, all right.
And because we need to stop being sheep and goats. We need to be the shepherd.
Yes.
Are we the sheep? Are we the goat? The goat is the one who's trying to step on you. The sheep is the one who's hiding at home, frightened.
Yes.
And the goat is the one who's like, yeah, let me charge you more. Let me do this. Let me do that. But we should be neither. We should be the shepherd who is taking care of the goat and the sheep inside of us. Because inside of us we have an angry side. Inside of us we have a quiet side. And one, either the angry side is too much or the quiet side is too much. We need to be in balance. We need to be a good shepherd for ourselves, and then a good shepherd for our community. So I'm just trying to get the word out. And to be honest, I also, through this, the fantastic support I've had on YouTube, I've been able to travel a bit, to Europe last year, or the year before, and last year, and to get around and even feed my family. There's been times when I've been right out of money, and as I said to you yesterday, like the time the guy sent me $42 when I needed exactly that amount of money to pay the campsite for my accommodation. So I've had so many stories like that, and so partly why I do this is because if I, it's one thing talking to you, but it's another thing if someone on the other side of the world says, hey, I really want you to continue doing, here's $50. that means I can continue doing this. Otherwise, like everybody else, as I keep saying to Andrea, if we go back in 2 weeks' time, as we probably may have to do, I have to probably find a regular job. Or I have to go on my hand and knees to the government and say, please give me some money, please give me a house to live in, which is the government that I say is despicable and is stealing from us. And so to go to the government and ask them for money from me, millions and billions, and truth, and stealing the truth of who we are. This is so important. They're stealing our truth, God's truth. They're demeaning God, and they are antichrist as far as I can see. They are antichrist because you are Christ, and they are against you.
Yes.
They are against you.
Antichrist,
that's right. And the whole of the system is antichrist, because if we are the Christ, it's actually working against us.
Yes.
If I lie to you, that means I'm working against you.
Against me, yes, of course.
If I tell you the truth, I'm working with you.
Yes.
The government is not telling us the truth, so they're not working with us, so I don't want to work with them. That's why I've been in a lot of trouble, because I didn't have my licenses, I wasn't paying certain taxes, I kept getting into trouble from the system trying to penalize me, for not playing the game,
They want you to play the game.
Yeah.
They want to control us. You must be controlled so you can live well.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you're not living well. They're taking all the good things, all the resources from you.
Yeah.
That means you have nothing.
Exactly.
You're
When
not playing the game.
When you're in the
If
game,
you play the
that's
game,
what
they give you whatever you want.
Yeah. But even if you're not playing their game, because they beat you down and said you were bad at school, you don't have a job, you don't have a home, you're this, you're that, because they beat you down, you start to believe that about yourself rather than knowing who you are. So they still win. Even the broken people, the people at the bottom, have still been beaten by the same system, because they don't know. What Jesus did was he went around to the homeless people and he spoke to them and said, you are the most special thing here. And it's those people who are most willing to hear this, or most able to hear this, because they are the ones who they see how much they've been deceived. They see how much the system is stacked against them. But they don't realize that the entire system is a fraud. And this is what I try and share to people.
The entire system is a fraud.
The entire system is a fraud. And it's a fraud perpetrated on all of humanity for centuries, maybe millennia.
Millions.
Yeah. And it's a fraud that I think God wants us to know about. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been brought to this information.
Yes.
I wouldn't have been given these opportunities to talk to you, to share this information with other people around the world. So I think there's a saying that goes, evil prospers when good men do nothing. And good is God. Good is God. And evil is the opposite of live. So, God is good, and evil is live backwards. You read live backwards. So evil is not living. And this is why the corporations, these dead entities, are the things that are controlling our world now, not men and women.
Yeah.
And until enough men and women, this is why I was really hoping to get to speak to the African leaders here, because, and I don't mean like the political leaders; those are obviously puppets.
Yes.
But the people in the community who need to realize that they are also being lied to. They've also been deceived, so that they can start to inform their people about the truth of who we are and our connection. Because humanity is never going to rise in consciousness until we find the truth.
Yes.
Knowledge is power.
Exactly.
And I would only lie to you because
and
I
won't
wanted
say
to
education is power. It's just to make you weak so you can believe all their lies. So that's why they say education is power. I just believe that knowledge is power. Whatever you experience, that's when you gain power from. So now what they're making, first you must get that money, then you get that power. So when you don't have money, you don't have that power. That's what they make us believe.
Yeah. Whereas it's knowledge. This knowledge of who we are is the most powerful thing. Because when you put your head on the pillow, it doesn't matter where that pillow is. If you know who you are, then you will be a richer, brighter soul. Because if there's a Christ light inside you, and this system is designed to snuff out that light, to kill that light, it doesn't matter where you sleep. If the light is out, the light is out. But if the light is alive and well, it doesn't matter where you sleep either. You can have the light alive in you, despite the fact that you're sleeping on the streets at the moment. And when you share that light in your community, it will bring richness to you. And I mean we all need a house. It shouldn't even be a question. But it will bring richness into your life. that I think will be in your best interest. So I hope eventually over time, if enough people go out and say the similar kind of message, that the humanity gets a chance to wake the heck up and clean ourselves up. But I think we have to hurt ourselves first. It's like, like the kid has to stub their toe a few times over the step, and then eventually, or burn themselves in the fire 2 or 3 times, and then they know, they know.
They know they weren't going to do this again.
Some people only need to be burned once. Some people just keep going back for more punishments.
Yeah, you are right.
Anyway, guys, I'm gonna end it here, and I'll say goodbye to you guys, and we'll see where we end up.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Sharp, sharp.
Sharp, sharp. Sharp, sharp.